What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out. Now, for this video, we're going to be diving into issue number 4 of the Crime Syndicate, taking place during the Infinite Frontier era of DC Comics. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead and check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything that's been going on in this super awesome line. Now, in the last few issues, we have seen the Crime Syndicate step up and save the day against a Starro invasion. And this is written by Andy Schmidt. Pencils are Bryan Hitch and Kieran McCowan. Inks are Bryan Hitch and Dexter Vines. It is colored by Elliptics Olaf, Steve Olaf, and Alex Sinclair. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright guys, so as we get into issue number 4, we're really picking up with the Emerald Knight. This is a story that heavily focuses on him. And in the opening pages, we're brought to Keystone City. And we have Johnny Quick and Atomica sitting here drinking in a bar not too long after their victory with the Starros. Because right now, there's a nationwide attempt to clean up everything that's left behind. You know, at this point, you would think that the Crime Syndicate would all be considered at least a little bit of heroes at this point. But at the end of the day, none of them are trusted. There's a tension that has slowly been building up, and it's just been waiting for somebody to light the fuse. And as Johnny Quick and Atomica are sitting here in this bar, this is when KCPD comes barging in. After being recognized saving the day, the police department has been hot on their trail, and they have an entire list of crimes that they're accusing them of that they say that they need to answer for. And as these two make their way out of the city, going across the bridge completely collapses. The bridge collapses and hundreds of people go falling into the river. And off to the side, we see our Emerald Knight. We see John Stewart watching all of this transpire. Now you guys gotta remember, this is all Earth 3. So everything is a little bit different here. And with so many different things, one of them being the Green Lantern ring, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Oa itself. Because in the last issue, Starro was kind of sending a warning that the Emerald Knights of Oa are essentially the bad guys. And there's also something very unique about these rings. Yeah, these rings talk to them, but they kind of talk down to them. They make them feel less than. It's a constant struggle of power that the ring tries to keep over you. But the ring tells him that he knows what this means. With Atomica and Johnny Quick now on the run, now being hunted down, it's not gonna stop with them. It's gonna be open season on all metahumans. They'll label somebody like John Stewart a weapon of mass destruction. They'll come for him, and they'll come for Coast City. And this is where we see John Stewart patrolling the skies, and we have some fighter jets come making their way in. And our Emerald Knight, he informs the fighter pilots that they're coming into his jurisdiction, and that this area is off limits to all armed forces. But they inform him that this is not only American soil, but they haven't come for the townfolk. They've come for him. They've come to take him down. And with the power of the ring, he grabs these aircrafts and has full control of them. And the ring, it taunts him. It tells him to crush them, to end their lives right then and there. But John Stewart, he wants to set an example. He banishes them, and it's his show of force showing that if anybody else is to come and mess with him, they may face the same fate. Now, this is where we're taken to Metropolis, and we pick up with Lex Luthor. Not only Lex Luthor, but Lunar. And right now they're discussing a lot of information. Now, Lunar, he's a new god from New Genesis, a realm in the sphere of the gods. And it doesn't give us a whole ton of information, but we know that he's trying to help Lex Luthor. And right now, LexCorp has so much on its plate. They're doing their best efforts to try to clean up all of the Starro invasion carcasses that are left over. Not only that, but he believes that Johnny Quick and Atomica, they need to be apprehended and they need to answer for their crimes. And he's got a lot of individuals that he's going to have to go against. You know, you have Ultraman, you have Superwoman, individuals like Owlman. These are very, very powerful individuals. And Lex Luthor, he's well aware of this. But he's not going to let anybody suffer. He's going to do his best to protect the world from what the metas have slowly began to do to it. And he vows that this will not happen to Metropolis. Not on his watch. And this is where we see Lex Luthor and the others, they arrive on a satellite station. And he's come up here to send out a broadcast. A broadcast to anybody that's willing to be a hero, that's willing to help him stop this wave of evil meta heroes. And he asks everybody to come to Metropolis tomorrow. If you want to help change the world, if you would like to help save this world, come meet us there and help us make the change. And after he's done broadcasting, really wondering if they're going to be able to get some kind of assistance to be able to take on these forces, this is where we see Sinestro. And we're told that, Sinestro, we know who Sinestro is. He's the Yellow Lantern in the regular universe. We have a whole story and a whole bunch of lore going behind it. But in this timeline, on Earth 3, he still was a Green Lantern. He still was an Emerald Knight. That was up until all of the Emerald Knights ended up slaughtering the people of his homeworld. And he ended up forging the Yellow Lantern Ring to use their own power against them. Because there is an Emerald Knight that stands against them. But Sinestro truly believes that he can reach John Stewart, that he can reach the man underneath the ring. He believes that the ring has been poisoning his mind, but he also believes that he can turn him maybe to a Yellow Lantern, but at least turn him to their side. Have him be able to take control of the ring and not have it control him. He believes that there is still some kind of good inside of John Stewart. And he believes he can beat the ring because Sinestro did. Now this is where we pick up in the Arctic. And we have Superwoman and Owlman making their way to Ultraman's fortress. Now, they don't knock on the door. Superwoman, she straight just knocks the door down. And as they make their way inside, they go up to Ultraman because they have a proposal for him. With Lex Luthor kind of creating his own army, trying to amass as many people to his cause as possible, Owlman and Superwoman both think it's a good idea that they team up. They team up together and with Ultraman to build their own team. And so if everybody else is going to build some kind of army, they should probably do the same. And their first course of action, according to Owlman, should be to go get the Emerald Knight, to go talk to him and try to get him to be on their side. And Owlman and Superwoman tell him, when we start this organization, you can have the head seat. The only thing that we're concerned about is not just taking over places like Metropolis, but we're talking about taking over the entire world. We're talking about ruling this world. And Superwoman, she wants one more thing out of this. She wants Ultraman to give her an heir. Because as this war begins, she has every intention of killing her mother. And taking control of the armies, bringing them to the land of men, and laying waste to all of them. And so the three of them, they take off in agreement. They take off and their first objective is dealing with Lex Luthor. And this is when we're brought to the skies above Coast City. And up here in the skies, we see the Emerald Knight posted up, sitting in a kind of throne on top of a dome that he's created over the city to protect it. And while he's sitting up here, his ring is kind of mocking him, telling him that he could be doing more, that he could be helping save this entire planet. Instead, he's just too focused on this one single city. And as this ring continues to talk, this is when we see Sinestro arrive. He arrives and he puts a kind of force field with his Yellow Lantern Ring around the Green Lantern Ring, causing it to become muffled and unaudible to everybody around it, kind of shutting it up, if you will. And of course, John Stewart, he starts to freak out that he was able to do that to his ring. And he also tells him, I'm not going to be controlled. I'm not going to be controlled by you or anybody. And Sinestro, he's happy to hear that. Because he didn't come here to control him. He came here to set him free. And this is where we see Sinestro lay the smackdown on John Stewart. And as he's beating the crap out of him, he's telling him that the power ring, it's designed to break him down and control him. Now his yellow ring, it counteracts his, temporarily preventing it from creating constructs. And he informs him that he can resist the ring. He can control it. But this isn't something that's easily done. There have been many people that have tried, but only Sinestro up to this point has been able to. Because right now, this ring, it's shedding his very identity, starving what noble good and compassion is left inside of him and feeding him with pride, anger, and resentment. And he tells them that he needs to listen to his true self, to join him and the other heroes of Earth. And that once they're finished here, they will free all of the other knights and bring justice to the galaxy. But this is something that John Stewart must choose on his own. And he tells him to look around. Look around at all of the people. They're not happy to see you. They are terrified of you. They do not love you. They fear you. And so Sinestro leaves him to think about everything that he said. And picking up a little bit later that evening, we see the Emerald Knight making his way outside of an apartment. And the whole time the ring is telling him not to listen to Sinestro. And the ring tells him that they're amassing a force to fight against him. And he's going to have to align himself with powerful allies. Allies like Owlman, like the Amazon, and like Ultraman, to be able to eliminate any threat that is facing them. And the ring tries to lie to him, tries to tell him that if he doesn't do this, that Coast City will end up falling. Now, the apartment he came outside of is the apartment of his daughter. And as she wakes up and she sees that her father is here, the Emerald Knight is here, she freaks out. She panics and screams, tells him that he needs to leave. Because as far as she is concerned, her father is dead. And hanging his head in shame, he flies off. He flies off to meet up with Lex Luthor, because he's decided to accept the invitation from Sinestro. And we see him welcomed into the Legion of Justice. Now, this is where we pick up 5 months ago. Inside of Coast City, we have John Stewart, who is a police officer. And he's sitting outside of a grocery store with his daughter, who just had a surgery that helped her be able to walk. And as he is sitting here with his daughter, a random nobody starts shouting at him, or at least it appears to be a nobody. But this individual is shouting, saying that he owes somebody. He owes somebody some money. Not just any somebody, but his father. And John Stewart, he tells his daughter to wait here. And he makes his way over to this kid, grabbing him and bringing him down an alleyway. Bringing him down an alley, he starts beating the crap out of this dude, telling him that he paid up whatever debt he had. Because he had a debt, he had to borrow some money. Something he's not proud of and something that he's only done one time, but he had to pay for the medical bills for his daughter. It was the only way, the only option that he had. But he paid that debt back in full. He's done everything he needed to up to this point. And beating this kid, he's telling him, I'm not going to have anybody control me. Not you, not your father, not anybody. And as he sits there and just wails on this kid, his daughter comes around the alley. She comes around the corner and she sees exactly what he's doing. And she is sitting there shocked and awed. John Stewart, ashamed of what he was doing, ashamed of being caught by his daughter. But before they can get words out of their mouth, this is when we see a Green Lantern ring appear before John Stewart, telling him that he has been chosen to serve law and justice across the universe, to be part of the Emerald Knights of Oa. And John Stewart, he tells the ring, he tells it that he's not going to have it control him. He's not going to be controlled by anyone, and he's not willing to pay anybody. But the ring informs him that this power comes free of cost. And it informs him that it can protect everybody. It can protect this Earth, Coast City, and most of all, it can help protect his daughter. And with that, he accepts it. He accepts the ring, and we see him transform into the Emerald Knight. And using his abilities for the first time, we see him not necessarily fix his daughter's leg, but give her a robotic light construct. And then he blasts off and flies off into the sky. And this is where we see John Stewart born into the Emerald Knight. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, I'm having a ton of fun with this. I've always been a big fan of Earth 3, of the Crime Syndicate, and we know a lot of what's about to happen because of Future State. But this is letting us know how Earth 3, it really got into the state that it is in the Future State event, and why Amanda Waller was so passionate on creating this Justice League Suicide Squad. And that's all covered in the Future State Suicide Squad, so be sure you guys check that out. I have a playlist for that as well, go ahead and check that out in my down in my description. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.